Today I wanted to talk about, firstly, how amazing it is now that I've got 2 children at school and preschool. As you'll see, I'm not in the office, I'm working from home today because I've got a lot to do. But what I really wanted to talk about, I digress, but it's really exciting. It's very exciting, like life begins. Again, it feels like having children at school and preschool. Totally digress, as always. Wanted to talk about bad breath. You know, it's a taboo subject that people don't talk about. I, over the years, for various reasons, have suffered with quite bad breath. I'd say bordering on halitosis, and I think a lot of us do. You know, we're all grabbing food, eating certain things, sugars that can affect the microbiome, coffee. A lot of us are basically living off coffee now as well. So all of these things affect the microbiome of our mouth. And there is ways to counteract that, and there are ways that you can lessen bad breath, basically. Naturally as well. It doesn't always need to be these really powerful mouthwashes or sprays. I went through a stage probably in my mid to late 20s of using that stuff called B12. You get a B12 injection, don't you? But I used this stuff, it was like in a white canister with blue writing, and you would spray it into your mouth, and what that used to do to me is it would strip the lining of my mouth. It would take off skin, and it wouldn't work. Like, it was really painful. I used to come up in all these sores, but people swore by it, so I thought I was doing it wrong. And when you're looking at conventional mouthwashes, like the high level of alcohol in them also really stings. It does help with bad breath, but it's a short-term thing. It's a short-term thing. You've got to keep using it, which isn't obviously very good for you. So I'm just going to run through a few things that you can do to help bad breath. Now, obviously, our products, I will go through that first. So the reason why our toothbrushes are infused with charcoal isn't only because it brightens teeth, but because charcoal also pulls out bacteria and bad smells and all the nasty stuff that's kind of going around your mouth all the time. So it reacts with that. So it's negative and positive charges. So basically it pulls it out. And when you spit, it will go on the toothbrush, and when you spit, it all comes out. So it's a lot better for you than just a standard toothbrush without any charcoal, because it gives you that extra zing sort of thing. So, and obviously our floss, infused with charcoal for that reason as well, for brightening between the teeth, but also for pulling out bacteria and pulling out bad smells and just making your mouth feel so much cleaner. We should all be flossing before we brush. So you floss and then you brush, basically. Now, I find that our floss gets in between all the little bits and really, really helps, but there are tiny little pockets that we can't get to with flossing, hence the reason why we've got our interdentals as well. The interdentals get in between the tiny little pockets in between the gum and the teeth to kind of pull out all of the bacteria and all of the things that cause plaque, which causes cavities and tooth decay as well. So all the good stuff, it pulls everything out. The interdentals basically do a different thing to the floss. They get in the pockets that the floss can't get in. And I think when you get older, and especially when you've had children, you do need that extra bit of help. It was a couple of years ago now that a dentist said to me, "Oh, have you used these interdentals?" And I didn't know what interdentals were then. And somebody else had mentioned to me, "Oh, you should do bamboo interdentals or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know what they are." And it's only when the dentist said to me about it, I was like, "What are they?" And they pulled out these tiny little plastic things. They're like, "Yeah, you use them once and then you throw them away." And I just thought, well, there's got to be a better thing for that. Hence the reason why we've got our interdental brushes. So you would use those, a massive thing that helps against bad breath, because a lot of it is sitting on our tongue. So it obviously comes up internally, the breath from our stomach, but also a lot of the bacteria and the dead skin cells sitting on our tongue cause terrible, terrible bad breath. So using our tongue cleaner as well, morning and evening if you can, you would use that before you floss, before you brush. It's the first thing you do. So you use the tongue cleaner, the floss, the interdentals if you're going to, and then you brush, which seems like a really, really long-winded way of having an oral care routine, but it's not. It takes 5 minutes, really. It takes 5 minutes. You've got to brush for 2 minutes at a time at least. And now I'll get into ingredients that you can look at, and also diet as well that can really help with bad breath. So naturally you're looking for ingredients like peppermint, most definitely. Peppermint's antibacterial, and it will pull out bacteria and help freshen breath and give you that really nice minty feeling in your mouth. Menthol, again, will do the same thing, but what that does, you know, when you've used a really minty toothpaste and you breathe in, it feels really cold. That's the menthol. It gives you that really fresh feeling. Charcoal, obviously, is going to pull out the bacteria and also have the added plus point of brightening the teeth. Coconut oil is huge as well. Coconut oil is amazing to use as oil pulling. And what that will do, when you've done your whole dental routine, the last thing you should be doing is oil pulling, and you use that instead of a mouthwash. And what that does is it binds all the bacteria and all the gunk that's still in there, and then you can oil pull for as long as you like. Apparently the longer you do it, the better it is, and you spit everything out, and it's amazing. It's really good. Other things you would be looking at are certain things like enzymes, like papaya enzymes that help. They're slightly abrasive, and they've got AHAs in them. So what they do, much like when you use an AHA on a mask, it gets rid of like the first layer of the skin. That will get rid of all sorts of different horrible things on the teeth, staining and bacteria as well. You should also be looking at eating less meat. I found that this is a huge one for me. I stopped eating meat, more or less. I eat meat every now and then, but I stopped eating meat properly probably about a year ago, and my breath is so much better. Animal fats and all that sort of stuff, I'm assuming. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but keeping that, lowering your meat intake will help hugely. When you are having sugary foods, we try to say, you know, especially with breakfast in the morning, we kind of have our breakfast and then we brush our teeth straight away. It's better to leave it for 20 minutes to half an hour, because what sugar does on our teeth is it will sit on our teeth for a long time, and then all you're doing when you're brushing it is you're pushing it into your teeth, which can cause cavities and also upset the oral microbiome, which then causes bad breath and bacteria. So yes, they're my top tips for getting rid of bad breath. Avoid the stuff that really strips the inside of your mouth. Oil pulling and tongue cleaning, if they're the only two things you can do, do them, because they help hugely. Everything else helps, but they help hugely and will make such a huge difference, as well as lowering your meat intake as well. I hope that's helped. Any questions, comment down below. Always up for DMs and emails. So have a lovely Tuesday. Bye.